At the start of the month, I mentioned to those inside the community that the odds of seeing a green February were pretty high based on historical data. So previously, over the last 11 years, I believe 9 Februaries out of the last 11 years have been green, 2 of those were red. So just looking at those figures alone, historically, February was a pretty bullish month. But I don't think anyone was expecting to witness what we have just witnessed, which is one of the strongest months on record for Bitcoin that we have ever seen. Previously, the strongest month on record in terms of dollar increase had been held by October of 2021, and that's when we saw Bitcoin climb from $44,000 to $61,000 in 31 days, and that was an increase of 40%. Well, February of 2024 has just outpaced that. So with a $20,000 increase locked in over 29 days, which is still insane to say, I want to now dive and unpack what has happened over not only this week, but previous weeks to trigger such a monumental rise, and also look at Bitcoin's price chart to see where price might go in the future. So unsurprisingly, probably topping the list of reasons for why Bitcoin is now at 2-year highs is the fact that inflows into the world's largest crypto are continuing to break crazy records. On Wednesday alone, 673 million flowed into Bitcoin ETFs. That equated to BlackRock adding 10,140 Bitcoins to their IBIT ETF in a single day. And to put that in perspective, the number of Bitcoin mined in a single day currently stands at 900 BTC. So there's a bit of an imbalance at the moment. And this chart highlights that really, really well. So here we have the 4 big ETFs and the number of Bitcoins that have been added to those. What is really important on this chart is that the red line represents the number of Bitcoins mined on a weekly basis, which stands at 6,300 BTC, I believe. And as we can see, the number of Bitcoins being hoarded by these Bitcoin ETFs is way above that level. And when you get an excessive amount of BTC being purchased on a weekly basis that is outpacing that which is entering circulation, you end up with charts like this, where we're currently seeing BTC testing out the zone between $58,000 and $64,000. So it's currently sat at $61,600 at the time of filming this video. Now, the second thing that I want to flag in this week's weekly updates is that we have seen an uptick in the level of investments coming into the industry. So we can see on this chart, back in 2021, a huge amount of venture capital was coming into the industry, and that tailed off throughout the bear market. But last week, the cumulative all-time investment in the space ticked past $90 billion, according to the Blocks research we have here. So while monthly investment is nowhere near back up at 2021 levels, we are starting to see a slight uptick month on month, which might suggest that VCs and investment firms are trying to begin to position ahead of what could be the next cycle. Now, while Bitcoin is still getting a lot of the limelight currently, it shouldn't be forgotten that the world's second largest crypto, Ethereum, also recorded its second largest month on record in February, and it secured a 46% increase. So it actually outpaced Bitcoin in terms of percentages. But one of the major catalysts for ETH that is on the horizon is, of course, the Ethereum spot ETFs. And what I want to bring your attention to is that during the week, Grayscale suggested that it is now a matter of when and not if for these Ethereum ETFs. So let's check out the interview that the CEO of Grayscale had with Bloomberg.
An Ethereum spot Ethereum ETF is a matter of when, not a matter of if. And
you say that because, with such confidence.
I say that with confidence because my team has been doing the tough work to move this industry forward, work constructively with regulators, focus on disclosure, investor protections, and that's been true for Bitcoin. Proud of the work we did with GBTC, and now.
Do you think? Look, it took a lawsuit to get Gary Gensler to back down on this, right? I mean, and we just had Gary here recently, and you saw that interview. I'd love to get your reaction to it, but clearly, left to his own devices, this is not the outcome that he would have preferred. Mm-hmm. I think that's, at least in between the lines, that's what I think he has said.
Well, he actually wrote a pretty strong dissenting letter around this and really focused on the Grayscale lawsuit the day that the approvals for spot Bitcoin ETFs came out.
And so, which then begs the question, on the Ethereum front, if that is to move forward in a meaningful way, does that require another suit?
It's too early to say. It's too early to say. I think we have a similar dynamic in the market where the SEC has allowed for and approved Ethereum futures ETFs to come to market. The data suggests in a very similar way to Bitcoin that spot Bitcoin and Bitcoin futures have an inextricable tie. The markets have a 99.9% correlation. Same is true around Ethereum. And so we do have a very similar dynamic here.
So in my opinion, the Ethereum ETF is looking more and more likely week on week. Everything is pushing towards launch date in the summer. I've seen nothing to suggest otherwise on that. It will be the final deadline for the SEC. And we now know how price reacts. At least we've had a taste of how price reacts when we get one of these spot ETFs launched. We've seen what's happened with Bitcoin. So you would imagine that something similar would happen with Ethereum. So super excited about this one. And then finally, we have ticked into a brand new month. We're in March, so we need to be aware of the key catalysts coming up throughout March. And this is a brilliant Twitter feed from Layer GG that I wanted to flag with you guys. And some of the key catalysts on the horizon include US CPI figures on 12th of March. 13th of March, we've got Ethereum's Denken upgrade. Then we have the US Federal Reserve's FOMC interest rate decision meeting on the 20th of March. That will be really interesting. Chances are at the moment they will just pause interest rates. That's what the SEC have been saying and Jerome Powell has been saying so far this year. If there is any change to that, that might cause some volatility in the markets. And then we can see all of the other beta news. We've got token unlocks. But if you want to go and check that out, check out Layer GG's calendar. That's all of it laid out in the March, in the actual calendar dates. So really useful. I've actually retweeted this on my own page. So if you want access to that, check out the Access All Crypto Twitter page and you'll find the link for this calendar. Now, we also need to desperately look at some technicals because Bitcoin is now only $7,000 away from price discovery mode, and there are some new key levels that we need to pay close attention to. So we are on the weekly time frame here for Bitcoin, and these are some of the things that I am looking at now. So the price of Bitcoin as it stands at the moment is currently above the resistance zone at $58,000. It's looking likely that it's going to close above that. So it would suggest that the bulls have the appetite to take prices higher. The next zone of resistance is up at $64,000. On my chart. We can see that the weekly volume has turned bullish after that minor blip that we saw last week. And it's also now the highest bullish volume that we have seen since April of 2023, maybe March 2023. So that's really interesting. And then we've got the weekly RSI, that's climbed higher as well. So that's pushed to its highest level since February of 2021. It's currently reading 85 on my chart. And then finally, we've got both the 50-week and 200-week moving averages beginning to turn higher. So all of the momentum with the bulls at the moment. So with Bitcoin pushing up to yearly highs of $64,000 on Wednesday, only falling $5,000 short of breaking all-time highs, the big question that everyone is now asking is, where is it going to go next? So clearly, based on the charts, momentum is with the bulls. If we get a close above the resistance zone of $58,000, which it's looking likely now, that would suggest that the bulls want to continue to take the fight higher. On the other hand, if prices start to subside, I'll be also looking to see if we get a close back below 58,000. It's not looking likely at the moment. But that would suggest that the momentum for now has subsided and that sideways price action or a retrace is more likely. Either way, after only 2 months of 2024, this year has already been so exciting. And I want to close the video out with this thought that I shared with my community over the weekend, that even though Bitcoin is on an absolute tear right now, Bitcoin and crypto are not in the mainstream news headlines yet. My parents or estranged family members aren't asking me about it yet. we are still early. So that's the thought that I want to leave you with. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more crypto insights. All that's left for me to say is, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.